We see a group of wolves running quickly through the jungle, and our hero Reen is chasing after them. As he approaches, he starts patting the wolves' cheeks, showing affection towards them. Reen is a beast tamer who trains and controls wild animals, working with his team to eliminate dangerous creatures from the jungle and protect the good ones. However, one day his team calls him into a room and asks him to leave the team, claiming it's not a prank, but a serious decision. Arios, Agaf, Lean, and Mina all express their desire for Reen's departure, stating that they find him useless and a source of trouble for the team. Arios asserts that Reen never harms monsters and only does the menial task of cleaning up after the controlled animals, which according to them makes him worthless as a beast tamer and unfit to be part of the team. Feeling hurt and betrayed, Reen takes off his coat and leaves. In the next scene, Reen sits under a tree, contemplating how the team treated him and wondering if their behavior was because they saw him as beneath them. He feels they never cared for him. Just then, some children run up to Reen and ask if he lost his job as a hero. They ask him to perform some magic to control animals, and he complies, taming a flying eagle that greets the children before flying away. Reen explains to them that controlling animals is easy, but maintaining a lasting connection is more difficult. The children express their admiration for him and say he's an awesome person. They also share their dreams of becoming adventurers and exploring the world. This inspires Reen to consider becoming an adventurer himself to earn money by using his skills. He realizes that he doesn't need to focus on defeating the Demon King and can make a living as an adventurer instead. He heads straight to the Adventurer Guild to gather information about this new path as he is not familiar with the process. The receptionist is delighted by Reen's honesty and starts giving him all the details about adventurers. She then suggests he starts a trial to determine his class. When he mentions being a beast tamer, the receptionist assures him that he won't engage in any unethical activities. And then the receptionist starts explaining to Reen about the adventurer trial and asks if he knows why it's necessary to go through the trial before registering as an adventurer. Reen gives a great reply, stating that many unskilled adventurers in the guild might lead to a lack of trust from the public, which is absolutely correct. For the trial, Reen has to defeat 10 goblins and collect 20 medicinal herbs, which is the bare minimum requirement, after successfully taking down the goblins and gathering the crystals. But at that moment, he hears a girl screaming from the jungle, and he rushes to see a gigantic killer tiger about to attack her. It turns out to be a D-rank killer tiger, and Reen tries to attack it with his knife, but the tiger remains unaffected, and his knife breaks. The tiger approaches Reen, and he tells the girl to run. With no weapons and seemingly facing certain doom, Reen's about to give up, but then the girl jumps into action and uses her incredible strength to cut the tiger's head clean off, killing it instantly. Reen is amazed and asks the girl about her identity. She reveals that she belongs to a rare species known as cat spirits, one of the ultimate species in this world alongside dragonoids, fairies, and demigods. As the tiger disappears, Reen rushes to save the girl from falling, and she loses consciousness due to extreme hunger. He offers her some food he had brought along, and after eating, she thanks him for saving her life as she hadn't eaten for days. She introduces herself as Kinnaid, a cat spirit, and Reen introduces himself as well. He had heard her voice during his adventurer trial and had come to her aid. He calls her Miss, but Kinnaid prefers to be called by her name rather than Miss, and the two start conversing while journeying together. Reen opens up about his past, and when Kinnaid learns about how Reen was removed from the hero's team, she gets angry and thinks Reen is a good guy. Reen appreciates her kind words and calls her sweet in return, assuring her that it doesn't bother him anymore, and if he isn't bothered, then she shouldn't be either. In a tender moment, Reen puts his hand on Kinnaid's head, and she feels relieved. She comments on Reen's strength, and he modestly admits to being just a beast tamer. Intrigued, Kinnaid asks him to control her, as she had thought he could control her when she first saw him, as there are very few people in the world who can control cat spirits. Reen then proceeds to try and control Kinnaid. He cuts his finger and lets his blood fall on his hand to start the connection process. While creating the connection, he utters some spells and asks Kinnaid to say her name, and as she does, the connection is successfully established. A symbol appears on Kinnaid's hand, symbolizing their bond. This sight makes Kinnaid incredibly happy, and she thanks Reen before running away. Reen heads to an open grassy field for his adventurer trial, and there he meets some rabbits, which he plans to form a connection with. He brings his friends along and successfully establishes connections with all of them. Impressed, Kinnaid is amazed at how Reen can handle so many creatures at once, considering that many beast tamers can only handle one animal at a time. She begins to praise him for his skills. Then both of them go to Adventure Guild, and Reen presents the receptionist with 10 crystals and 20 medicinal herbs. The receptionist becomes delighted and congratulates him for obtaining a trail pass. Now he's become an F-rank adventurer, and she hands him an adventurer card as well. As a reward, she also gives him 50 copper coins and mentions that he will receive more money when his rank improves. Seeing how quickly he completed the task, it seems likely that he will be promoted soon, Now Reen knows he needs to work hard to advance his rank. He then goes outside to meet Kanade, who asks if he has become an adventurer. Reen happily confirms it, and Kanade congratulates him. Just then, a peculiar man approaches and remarks that a cat spirit is not easy to come by, questioning Kanade's presence. He invites her to sit with him for drinks and jokingly calls Reen boring. This annoys Kanade, who declares that Reen is her master and that she is under his control. Reen introduces himself as a beast tamer, which makes the man laugh, assuming their regular beast tamer can't tame a unique species. However, Kanade assures him that Reen is an even stronger beast tamer, and to prove it, the man challenges Reen to a fistfight. The winner will be rewarded with Kanade. Reluctant to lose Kanade, Reen accepts the challenge and surprisingly defeats the man in a second. The receptionist then arrives, apologizing for the man's behavior. She asks Reen how he managed to contract an ultimate species, and she is astonished to see this. Reen never contracted any ultimate species before. Kanade reveals that her powers have made him so powerful. Reen can't believe it, as no one in his family has ever managed to contract with an ultimate species. Then they go for their task of collecting herbs. After gathering all the herbs, where Kanade senses trouble nearby. They find a group of 100 Ebon Fangs members attacking an old man and planning to kill him. Reen and Kanade decide to help the old man and rush to his aid. Reen easily takes down the attackers, and Kanade rescues the old man. However, she worries that with her power now connected to Reen, she fears that he might go insane and lose control. These thoughts make her anxious. In the end, Reen defeats all the attackers, and when he looks at Kanade, her face is blushed like a tomato. The old man thanked him for saving them. Reen inquires why the old man is traveling without guards, as it can be dangerous. The old man explains that he hired some people, but they stole his belongings, and he isn't concerned about that, but he fears the Ebon Fangs gang once they find out that their comrades were defeated. So he asks both of them to run away. However, Reen decides to catch all of them so that he can protect other people from these bandits. He even tames a squirrel to help them find a hiding spot. Later, Kanade asks Reen about his plan, and he reveals that he has tamed a bee. If the bee stings someone, they will remain unconscious for 12 hours. Kanade finds it hard to believe that Reen was able to tame an insect like that, but he explains that he received training in taming insects at home. Afterward, they start their mission. Reen asks Kanade to call the knights, as the bandits will attack them, and in the meantime, Reen will make them unconscious. He successfully tames all the bees and sends them inside a cave. On the other side, Lean and Mina are trembling because they were scared away by some bandits. They catch the guy that was with them, thinking he didn't save them, and because of him, they got caught. However, he is just a beast tamer who cannot fight. Hearing this, Lean calls him useless and says if Reen were there, he would have fought. She mentions that Reen could easily tame 10 to 20 squirrels and stop those bandits. But according to the guy, a beast tamer can only tame one animal at a time, and if they try to control more, their nervous system will be damaged. This reminds Lean of how Reen used to tame so many animals at once. She threatens to kill the guy, but he runs away in fear. Yet Lean still can't believe that Reen could be so powerful to do what other beast tamers can't. On the other hand, all the bandits are unconscious because of the bees, and Kanade arrives to help Reen. Together, they tie up all the bandits. The member of the adventurer group thanks Reen for his help, and now they can handle everything themselves. Reen is pleased that Kanade came to help on time, and he pats her head in appreciation. Suddenly, they hear growling sounds, and 3 king lizards emerge from the cave looking very dangerous. They start attacking all the adventurers. However, Reen and Kanade step in and start fighting the lizards. They defeat the lizards so easily that they don't even ask for reinforcements. Reen feels much stronger with Kanade by his side. As the evening approaches, the other adventurers are waiting for them, and when they finally arrive, everyone praises them. Reen can't believe how much he has changed since parting ways with Ario's party, and he thanks Kanade for being with him, as she is the reason for all this progress. After Ebon Fangs were defeated, they were called to the Adventurer Guild to celebrate their achievement, and Reen was promoted to E rank and given a substantial amount of money. Reen and Kanade then started looking for a hotel to stay, but they found one where there was no separate room available for Kanade, so they had to share a room. However, Reen insisted on camping outside because he couldn't share a room with a girl who was a stranger to him. Kanade didn't mind and wanted Reen to stay with her. Reen explained that he couldn't trust people so easily, as they had only recently met and didn't know each other well enough to trust blindly. He couldn't just trust her based on their brief acquaintance. But when Reen was about to leave the room, Kanade stopped him and said that she doesn't easily trust anyone, but she trusts Reen because he is different. Even though they just met, they are friends, and she can't let her friends sleep outside. Kanade wanted to keep her promise to always be with him. The next day, they both reached the Adventurer Guild, where they receive a task to capture a dangerous Hokagon that was causing havoc in the city. They were informed that they would receive 5 gold coins for capturing it. Kanad suggested that they should capture the guard dog, Hokigan, and informed Reen that people who encounter the guard dog can't reveal its identity, making it a new threat for them. Just then, a massive dragon appeared and attacked them with powerful gusts of wind. The dragon transformed into a girl named Tanya, who challenged Reen to a fight. When Reen asked if she was the guard dog, she introduced herself as Tanya, the dragonoid, an ultimate species who was using the bridge for training. Tanya challenged Reen and Kanad to fight her, and she declared that she wouldn't leave the bridge if they didn't defeat her. The battle began and Tanya attacked Reen, launching a fireball that burned Kanad's tail, making her angry. Kanad started fighting back against Tanya, while Reen tried to attack from behind, but Tanya effortlessly threw them both into the air and attacked them with fire again. However, Reen decided to fight Tanya like a real beast tamer, and he told Kanad to distract Tanya for 5 minutes as he had an idea. Reen focused on controlling a bird and commanded a swarm of poisonous birds to attack Tanya. Overwhelmed by the attack, Tanya fell to the ground and couldn't move due to the poison. Reen then asked Tanya to come with them, and she questioned if he was planning to sell her to someone. But Reen had no intention of doing so, he only wanted to talk to Tanya. When Tanya refused, Kanad started hurting her by poking her body, causing immense pain until Tanya finally agreed to accompany them. They all returned to the Adventurer Guild, where the receptionist was surprised to see that they had defeated the guard dog and was ready to reward them. And then she looks at Tanya and asks if this girl is a dragonoid. But Reen wants to keep her identity hidden, so he says that she's just a regular girl wearing a dragon costume. But Tanya can't stop herself from introducing her true identity, so Reen covers her mouth and takes her away. The 3 of them then go to the market, where Tanya is about to reveal her identity to everyone, but Reen stops her again. They take her to a secluded place and tell her to hide her identity. Reen asks her to promise not to trouble anyone anymore. However, Tanya insists on going with Reen and Kanad because she enjoys being with them, and she hugs Reen, saying that she likes him. Seeing this, Kanad starts feeling jealous because she also likes Reen and doesn't want him to be with someone else. Reen eventually agrees to let Tanya join the team, and she suggests making a contract with him. Reen goes through the same process again, and a contract is formed between him and Tanya. After that, a mark appears on Tanya's hand, just like the one on Kanad's hand. From now on, Reen has become Tanya's master as well. On the other side, the hero and his party spend a week wandering in the jungle to find the shield but fail in their mission and have to return empty-handed. Additionally, they face difficulties in washing their belongings as there's no one with them. The hero says that they will apologize to Reen and bring him back, and once they obtain the shield from the jungle, they will remove him from the team again. Meanwhile, Kanad and Tanya argue about who will sleep on the bed, and Reen comfortably lays down on the floor and sleeps. The next day, the 3 of them start working together in the jungle, and on the way, they encounter F-rank monsters called slimes that anyone can defeat, and these slimes seem indifferent to many adventurers. However, if they are left untouched for a long time, they swarm together, and these slimes are mostly found in farmers' fields. Kanad wants to stay away from the slimes as they are very sneaky and make one's entire body dirty. Nevertheless, they all search together for the swarm and encounter a bird that Reen tries to form a contract with. Reen's soul goes inside the bird after the contract, and now Reen can control its body at will, which is a skill of a beast tamer that Reen has learned. Tanya and Kanad are impressed by Reen's abilities, and then Reen flies into the sky with the bird to search for the slimes, while asking Tanya and Kanad to look after its body. Eventually, they find and attempt to figure out a way to defeat the slimes. Tanya suggests using fireballs to defeat them, and Reen focuses and attacks fireballs, successfully defeating all the slimes and collecting numerous crystals. Reen is amazed at how he was able to do this, but Tanya already knew that Reen could do it because of the contract with her. Dragon powers are the second most powerful abilities in the ultimate species. As they celebrate their success, more slimes arrive and Tanya starts teaching Reen how to use magic to defeat them. However, Reen is unable to focus, which frustrates Tanya. In the end, they manage to complete their task and they update their Adventurer Guild, and Reen collects the rewards, allowing them to enjoy themselves in the market. After returning home, they all have a hearty meal, and Tanya and Kanad eat as if they have been hungry for years. Reen notices that the ultimate species also have an ultimate stomach. Tanya and Kanad finish the food and thank Reen for helping them find the smiles and using magic to defeat them. Reen tries to decline the thanks, stating they are all friends, but Tanya and Kanad insist on hearing the story of how Reen learned beast taming. Reen shares memories of his childhood, how he was born in a beast tamer's village, and how his parents were also beast tamers. Therefore, he was always learning beast taming and even learned insect taming from the village. When Tanya and Kanad ask about the village, Reen explains that it no longer exists and has been destroyed. This disappoints Tanya and Kanad, and they urge Reen to tell them more details about his past. Reen agrees to share more and reveals that one day his parents were busy in the village, so he continued to practice taming. However, when night fell, he saw that the entire village was on fire, and it was the work of demons. Then Reen was picked up by a few adventurers who brought him along with them. He used to stay at an inn and work there to fill his stomach. As he grows older, one day, about 18 months ago, he met Arios and his team. Arios offered Reen to become a part of his team, and Reen, with a smile, accepted the offer, thinking that being part of a hero's party would change his life. However, he soon realized that he was wrong, as Arios and his team never treated him well and always used him. Hearing this, Kane becomes emotional and tells Reen how he always stood up against dangers during the bandit fights, King Lizard, and how he saved her from the tiger. She was always wondering what gave him the courage to help others so much, and now she is happy to know that it's because he genuinely wants to help people. Tanya is also pleased to have Reen as her master. Tanya and Kanai become angry at Arios and his party because despite all the help they provided, they were always belittling Reen and calling him useless. The next day, they set out on another adventure to slay orcs and gather stones. Tanya confidently displays her skills, burning the orcs with fire. Reen and Kanai join her in fighting the orcs. However, Reen advises them to be careful and work together, as it's a new and dangerous task for him. Tanya arrogantly declares that orcs can't harm her, and she goes on to fight them alone. During the battle, one orc grabs Tanya's leg and throws her to the ground. While struggling, Tanya manages to defeat the orc with her fire power, but another orc attacks her from behind. Reen steps in to block the attack and gets hurt in the process. Thanks to his healing magic, he quickly heals his wound. After the incident, Tanya looks a bit upset, and they head back to the Adventurer Guild. However, Tanya spends some time alone, contemplating the situation. A little girl appears and asks Tanya how many demons she defeated today, but Tanya sadly replies that she didn't defeat anyone and looks disappointed. She realizes that Reen was genuinely worried about her and risked his life to save her. Suddenly, Reen arrives and asks her what happened. Tanya apologizes for not listening to his warning, which resulted in him getting into trouble. Reen places his hand on her head and tells her to calm down. Tanya is surprised that Reen isn't angry with her, and Kanad joins them, hugging Tanya. Later that night, they had only 2 beds to sleep on, so they decide to sleep together. When Reen is sleeping, Tanya watches him closely, seeing how he cares for both of them, giving them the bed while he sleeps on the floor. She starts to feel some feelings in her heart, and it seems like she might have fallen in love with Reen. Controlling herself, she covers Reen with a blanket and goes to sleep on the floor. The next day, they set out on their next adventure, and on the way, they unexpectedly meet Hero and his party. After seeing the hero's party, Reen becomes disheartened and suggests going by a different route, ignoring them. However, Arios stops him and says, "We are friends, Reen, don't act so cold." Arios apologizes for trying to remove Reen from the team and admits that they should not have used harsh words, even if Reen seemed useless. Tanya interrupts and asks if they are part of Hero's party. When Arios sees that both Kanade and Tanya are the ultimate species, he becomes anxious and wonders what these 2 powerful beings are doing with Reen. Arios suggests that Reen might be serving them now. However, Kanad firmly states that Reen is their master, and they have a contract with him. This surprises Hero's party, and Reen asks Arios what he wants from him. Arios reveals that he has an offer for Reen. They went to the Lost Woods where the paths were vast and a dense jungle. They needed someone with beast-taming powers to find some noble relics that could help defeat the Demon King. Without those relics, the demons would take control of the entire realm, and everyone would suffer. Mina chimes in, stopping Reen from leaving, and says that finding those relics is crucial. Tanya and Kanad confront Hero's party, demanding apologies for the way they treated Reen. Tanya even threatens to burn them alive if they don't apologize on their knees. However, Hero's party refuses to apologize, and Arios grabs Reen, calling Kanade and Tanya mere pets. This infuriates Reen, and he punches Arios, sending him flying 10 meters away. Arios is in disbelief that a beast tamer could punch him, but Reen is determined to make him pay for his actions. A fight breaks out between Reen's team and Arios' team. Kanade engages in a fierce battle with Agath, unleashing a barrage of rapid punches that Agath struggles to defend against. Agath's strongest attacks, Hellfire and Brimstone Slash, fail to even touch Kanade. He's astonished at her ability to block them effortlessly. Kanade then announces that she will use her half-power for the battle and gets ready to finish off Agath. Agath trembles in fear, and as Kanade leaps at him, she kicks him with such force that he goes crashing into a tree and falls unconscious. On the other side, Tanya, Mina, and Lean start their fight. They cast their spells at Tanya, who easily stops them with a flick of her fingers, mocking their weak attacks. Undeterred, they try again, but Tanya effortlessly blocks their spells once more. No matter how many times they attack, Tanya quickly stops their attacks and laughs at their feeble magic. Finally, in defeat, Mina and Lean kneel before Tanya, apologizing, and they end up unconscious. Next, we see the battle between Reen and Arios. Reen throws the first punch and Arios retaliates with his sword. However, Reen dodges each of his attacks and lands a powerful punch on Arios' stomach. Arios can't believe how quickly Reen moves and how strong he has become. Reen explains that he now possesses the powers of both the cat species and dragonoid, which he tamed before. He knew about Arios' attacks from before due to his beast-taming abilities. Arios then uses his lightning power, threatening to burn Reen to ashes. The fierce battle ensues, with Reen countering Arios' lightning with his fireballs. Arios taunts Reen, saying that he probably only has fireball and healing powers. He then unleashes his unique abilities to surprise Reen. However, Reen realizes that defeating Arios with just 2 powers might be challenging, so he uses his B power to numb Arios' body during the battle. In the end, Reen is about to defeat Arios, who pleads for his life, but Reen delivers a powerful punch to Arios' face, knocking him unconscious, and ultimately he defeats Hero's party. Kanagit and Tanya rush to hug Reen in celebration of their victory. Later on, Hero's party apologizes to Reen for their behavior, and Reen agrees to help them. First, they all reach the Lost Woods, which is a very eerie place. Tanya considers burning the place down, but Reen dissuades her. Then Reen looks at the jumbo map and speculates that this might be the Lost Woods. However, he feels that Arios' map is useless. Reen remembers that Arios had told him that the Shield of Truth is held by monsters and hidden within the depths of the Lost Woods, and it is crucial for defeating the Demon King. Reen decides to follow Arios' advice and go after the shield, and Tanya agrees to help. Kanagit asks Reen if it was right to agree to help the hero. Tanya argues that she can defeat the Demon King without any shield. However, Reen believes that they should assist Arios because he's the only one capable of defeating the Demon King. Reen apologizes for leading them into the jungle, but Kanagit and Tanya insist that they wanted to accompany him and take care of him. Then Reen calls a bird and transfers his soul into it, allowing him to fly and explore the jungle freely while his body remains behind. The trio starts walking in the jungle, and they encounter the same stone they had placed while leaving, realizing that they have been going in circles. Tanya suspects that something is wrong with the woods and uses her magic to find the place they were looking for. Eventually, she discovers a massive tree emitting a bright light that creates illusions and causes them to wander aimlessly. Tanya urges Kanad to cut down the tree as it was creating a barrier in their path. While she could do it herself, it would take more time. Kanad proceeds, but a voice frightens her, and suddenly a fairy appears, the ultimate species according to Reen, whom humans hadn't seen for 200 years due to conflicts between fairies and humans. Reen addresses the fairy, who repeatedly tells them to leave, threatening them if they don't. This surprises Kanad, as fairies are usually known to be peaceful. Reen interprets the fairy's behavior as a result of the ongoing conflict between fairies and humans. Nonetheless, Tanya insists on revisiting the place to complete their task quickly. Reen wants to talk to Fairy again, hoping to make her understand with kindness. Tanya and Kanad agree, and they decide to go back to the fairy. They all return to the same place, with Reen stepping forward this time. The fairy repeats her warning to leave, threatening to attack Reen and shooting arrows to scare him off. However, Reen remains standing, determined to talk to her. The fairy starts to wonder if Reen is genuinely different, someone who is not like the humans who had always troubled fairies. She attacks again, but this time Tanya and Kanad step forward to block her arrows, insisting that Reen is a good person who deserves a chance to talk. The fairy eventually calms down and Reen approaches her. She introduces herself as Sora and learns that the trio has come to obtain the Shield of Truth. Reen explains that the tree's barrier was preventing them from getting the shield, but Sora reveals that she had set up the barrier herself. She cannot remove it as the barrier leads to the fairy's home, and she doesn't want to endanger her friends. Tanya suspects that Sora is trying to protect the monsters, but in reality there are no monsters in the jungle guarding the Shield of Truth. Only fairies protect it, and if they want to defeat the Demon King, they need the shield. Sora finally agrees and fetches the shield and gives it to the Reen. Reen offers to help Sora if she ever needs anything, and she declines, saying she needs nothing and wants them to leave quickly. But something seems to be bothering her, and when Reen is about to leave, he stops and tells her that he feels that something wrong happened to her, and he wants to help. Sora contemplates whether she should tell them about her past. Reen, Kanad, and Tanya encourage her, and she starts to open up. Sora reveals that she has a younger twin sister named Runa, whose personality is entirely different from hers, yet they were always together. They used to protect the path to the fairies' village from danger. But one day, while they left the barrier to do some work, they encountered a black knight who worked for the Demon King. The The knight pursued them, and despite their efforts, Runa was taken away, leaving Sora alone. Reen asked about the monster's name, and Sora explains that it's called the Shadow Knight, a C-rank monster with powerful magic and resistance to physical attacks. Fairies mainly use magic, making it challenging to defeat the Shadow Knight. Sora reveals that the Shadow Knight's purpose is to eliminate the ultimate species, which is why he kidnapped Runa. In exchange for letting her sister go, Sora had to lower the barrier and let the Shadow Knight in. She ran to the leader of the fairies' village. The leader instructed her to forget her sister, as she made a grave mistake by leaving the barrier and that she must face the consequences. Sora couldn't forget her sister and cried for her loss. Reen consoles her, assuring her that he will face the Shadow Knight and bring her sister back. Hearing this, Sora's eyes light up with hope, and she hugs Reen, crying tears of relief. The fairy also tells Reen and his team that they couldn't save Runa before evening. The knight will kill Runa. This means Reen and his team need to find and defeat the Shadow Knight quickly. Eventually, they find Runa, who is trapped by the Shadow Knight. Reen and his team attack the Shadow Knight together, and a fierce battle ensues. The Shadow Knight seems impressed by Reen's power and wonders why Reen came there. He finds out that they came to save Runa, and this revelation angers him, leading him to attack Runa. However, Tanya manages to stop him, allowing Reen to rescue Runa. Tanya takes Runa to safety while Reen and Kanad focus on defeating the Shadow Knight. The battle is intense, and the Shadow Knight wreaks havoc with his immense power. Reen instructs Kanad to stay focused while he tries to distract the Shadow Knight. Kanad, with the help of Reen's power, manages to defeat the Shadow Knight with a powerful punch, securing their victory. Afterward, Kanad asks Reen how he made her so powerful. Reen reveals that he temporarily shared his power with her, which made her feel more powerful. Tanya arrives at the scene with Runa, who comes into consciousness, and they tell her that they are her friends. Reen, Kanad, and Tamer reunite Runa with Sora, and the two sisters embrace each other with gratitude. Runa thanks Reen for saving her, and Reen is happy to see the sisters reunited. Kanad suggests that they both can stay with their village people, but Sora and Runa do not wish to do so because their village had abandoned Runa when she needed help the most, so they decide to stay away from their village. Then Kanad invites them to join their team, and Reen is ready to accept them. However, Sora is hesitant and doesn't fully trust humans other than Reen. Reen assures them that he will trust them and accepts them into the team. Runa proposes making a contract with Reen to solidify their alliance, and Reen is unsure if he can tame powerful ultimate species like fairies. Nevertheless, he decides to try, and surprisingly, he succeeds in forming the contract with both of them simultaneously. They notice the same mark on their hands as Tanya and Kanad have. After making the contract with the fairies, Reen becomes exhausted and faints, but Sora and Runa catch him, preventing him from falling. Later, Reen returns to the heroes' party to hand over the shield, making sure his team stays back so they won't recognize Sora and Runa. Arios is surprised to see Reen with the shield so quickly, not understanding how he found it within just 2 days. When they couldn't find anything in a whole week, he wonders if Reen is playing a prank on them with a fake shield. However, Reen insists that the shield is genuine and urges Arios to check it. Meta uses her magic to confirm the authenticity of the shield, and everyone is astonished that Reen managed to find it so quickly. Upon seeing the two new girls with the ultimate species, Arios becomes curious, but Reen brushes him off, asking for his reward of 20 gold coins. Now that Reen's task is completed, he prepares to leave, but Agath stops him and asks him to rejoin their team. Arios gets angry, as Agath didn't seek his permission before making such a suggestion. However, Agath believes that Reen's skills are necessary for their team, as he accomplished in 2 days what they couldn't in 7. Lean and Mina also agree to let Reen join them. However, Reen has changed and he declines the offer. Wealth and fame no longer interest him. He only desires good friends like Kanad, Tanya, Sora, and Runa. Reen's refusal angers the heroes' team, and Lean, Mina, and Agath decide to leave. But Arios is still unable to forget the humiliation of being defeated by Reen, despite being a hero. This leads him to make a decision to eliminate Reen with his own hands. Reen and his companions sit beneath a tree and talk, and Sora asks if the hero will defeat the Demon King. The hero first made a contract with the gods, absorbing their blood, and then defeated the Demon King, freeing everyone and bringing peace to the world. Reen emphasizes that most people have their limits, and no matter how much they train, they cannot defeat the Demon King. Only the hero, with the god's power within him, can do so. However, Kanai believes the current hero is weak, but Reen reassures her that he will continue to grow stronger over time. Sora questions if Reen isn't already a hero, given the contracts he made with Kanad, gaining the physical power of a cat, and with Tanya, gaining the power of dragonoids. Now, after forming a contract with the fairies, he has acquired magic powers as well. Reen has become very strong and surpassed human limits. However, Reen becomes lost in thought as his original goal was to fight the Demon King with the hero's party. When Arias removed him from the party, he lost sight of his goals and responsibilities. Now that he has formed his own team, he believes he can save many lives by confronting the Demon King. Yet Reen feels he is not mentally prepared for that decision and needs some time to decide. At that moment, Kanade steps forward and assures Reen that they will be by his side no matter what he decides. The next day, they all are sleeping in their room and Reen is the first one to wake up. He notices that the other girls are still sleeping. After getting up, they all gather for breakfast and discuss the need to create a weapon for Reen to fight the Demon King effectively. They decide to visit the market to find a suitable weapon. As they head to the market, Sora and Runa are holding Reen's hand as they still harbor some distrust towards humans, fearing they might harm them. In the market, adventurers approach Tanya, praising her for her victory in the fight the previous day and expressing joy at seeing her as an adventurer. On the other side, Kanade talks to the apple seller, who offers her a free apple as a token of appreciation for her help the other day. Both fairies notice that Tanya and Kanade are getting along well with humans. Suddenly, some children run towards the fairies and inquire if they are the second and third wives of Reen. Another little girl compliments Sora as beautiful and insists on seeing her true form. However, Reen and Sora quickly cover her mouth and take her away, narrowly avoiding her identity being revealed. Eventually, they reach the shop where they can get a weapon made for Reen. Upon entering, a bearded man is cleaning a sword, and when he sees Runa and Sora, he tells them that children are not allowed in his shop. Reen then explains that he needs some weapons made and begins searching for the right one. Runa hands Reen a whip and mentions that it would be suitable for a beast tamer like him, which embarrasses Sora. The two sisters start arguing and Reen intervenes to stop them. Afterward, Reen picks up a dagger that looks unusual and strange to him. A boy comes in and offers the shop owner a significant sum of money in exchange for a proper sword. The shop owner agrees and hands the boy a good sword, which he takes and leaves. Reen finds something strange about the shop owner's behavior, and he questions the quality of the sword the boy had purchased. The shop owner explains that all the displayed weapons are normal ones and the real ones are hidden behind curtains. He does this to test his customers because many people buy weapons without testing their skills and end up wasting them. The real weapons are his masterpieces, and he only gives them to those worthy of such craftsmanship. Reen then reveals that he is a beast tamer and has developed keen observation skills while taming animals. This skill allows him to differentiate between weapons and understand their subtle differences. The shop owner is impressed by Reen's abilities and promises to craft a special weapon for him, but he lacks the necessary materials. The group then decides to visit the Adventure Guild, which is crowded as the hero is recruiting members to defeat the Demon King, promising great wealth to those who join his team. Natalie, the receptionist, notices Runa and Sora and inquires about their identities. Runa approaches Natalie and tells her that she shares a deep bond with Reen. Natalie is surprised to hear that Reen can have such a close relationship with children. Reen playfully teases Runa, and she happily enjoys the banter. Reen then discusses his work with Natalie and explains that he needs mithril for crafting a weapon, as mithril weapons are known to be exceptionally strong. However, mithril has been slowly disappearing and Reen suspects some problem in the mines. The group decides to investigate the mines and find out why mithril is vanishing. As they climb the mountain, Runa and Sora get exhausted and can't move forward. Fairies are skilled in magic but lack stamina. Reen suggests taking a rest near a nearby pond where the girls decide to bath. Kanade tries to undress, but Tanya stops her, avoiding an embarrassing situation. Reen then sits under a tree, keeping an eye on everyone's bags. He also tames a squirrel to get alerts if any danger approaches. On the other side, Kanade and Tanya enjoy their time in the river. Runa and Sora are surprised to see their big jugs, and they are embarrassed about their small size. Kanade assures them that with time they will also grow bigger and have fun together. As the group continues their journey, a fish bites on Kanade's tail, and her loud scream catches Reen's attention. He rushes to the scene and finds them in a compromising situation. Kanade feels embarrassed, but Reen apologizes for intruding without asking. Tanya and Kanade understand that Reen must have thought they were in danger and don't hold it against him. Finally, the group reaches the mithril mine and Reen figures out why mithril is disappearing. It is being stolen by some thieves. Suddenly, armed individuals approach them. Reen instructs Tanya and Kanade not to harm them and to focus on extracting information from the thieves. Sora volunteers to trace their memories using her magic. After successfully reading the thieves' memories, Sora discovers that they are adventurers stealing mithril from the mine. With their mission completed, Reen pats their heads to show appreciation. Inside the mine, Reen deduces that there must be a beast tamer among the thieves due to a bird's unusual movement. The group is now ready to face the challenge within the mine. Then they all enter the mine, and inside, the adventurers become aware that someone is coming into the mine. As Rien and his team proceed, they are attacked by fireballs, which Runa and Sora quickly block using their magic and bind the attackers with their own magic. Tanya and Kanade also show their skills by using their bows and arrows to subdue the boys and tie them up with ropes. The illegal mining beast Tamer demands to know who Rien is, to which Rien replies that he works for Grants and has come here to investigate the disappearance of Mithril. However, things take a dangerous turn when the boy attacks Rien with a knife. Rien swiftly stops the attack and knocks the boy to the ground. The real threat, however, comes when the boy uses his beast ability to summon a B-rank monster. The team is alarmed as it is challenging for a beast tamer to tame a B-rank monster, requiring exceptional skills and magic. The boy reveals that he has raised the monster since childhood, allowing him to tame it without using any magic or skills. He commands the monster to attack Rien, and the monster launches a ferocious assault that shakes the ground. Rien instructs Kanade to take the others away from the battlefield. She gathers everyone and returns to Rien's aid in the mine. The monster is about to strike Rien when Kanade rushes in and pulls him to safety behind a boulder. She manages to protect Rien from the imminent attack. Now, they devise a plan to fight the behemoth monster together. Rien will handle the monster and Kanade will go after the boy, knowing that the monster follows his orders. The plan unfolds as Rien launches an attack on the monster with his fireball power, and Kanade captures the boy. However, the boy insists on attacking rather than being caught. Rien faces difficulties in the fight, but then he suddenly realizes the full extent of his power and starts to tame the behemoth monster successfully. He gains control of the creature, much to the boy's anger and frustration. The boy's outburst makes the behemoth go wild, preparing to attack them all. However, Rien manages to defeat the monster using his fireball power. Now, with no other option left, the boy is caught by Rien, and the team apprehends all the Mithril thieves. Then they all head to Grants' place, and Rien informs him that he spoke with all the thieves, and they had one thing in common. They all purchased weapons from Grants, half-heartedly made by him. When others informed them that the weapons were mediocre, they decided to steal Mithril to prevent Grants from making any more weapons and to undermine his pride as well. Now that Grants realizes the truth, he feels disappointed as he thought he was testing those who bought weapons from him, but he was mistaken. Rien shows empathy towards Grants and encourages him to rectify his mistakes and start making better weapons, expressing confidence in his abilities. Grants finds it hard to believe that Rien is only half his age but still speaks so kindly to him. He opens up and decides to make a weapon for Rien. That night, we see Arios conducting interviews for beast tamers in his cabin because he needs a new beast tamer in his team. He rejects everyone as no one can control more than one animal, and when one of the candidates denies being able to tame an ultimate species, Arios disqualifies him. Mina realizes that Arios is judging everyone based on Rien's capabilities, and everyone feels disheartened, thinking they can never defeat the Demon King without Rien. However, Mina defends Rien, telling Arios not to judge him, and she still believes in him. Arios decides to sleep, but in his mind he plans to eliminate Rien. The next day, Rien visits the Adventurer Guild and learns that the thieves he caught have been sent to jail. Rien returns, and Runa and Ro are waiting for him. The three of them go to the market, and Runa and Sora have a great time. Rien buys them hot dogs, and they sit under a tree to eat. Runa and Sora devour the hot dogs quickly, and Rien promises that he will do the same with Tanya and Kanade next time. Runa and Sora start asking Rien about his ability after contracting with them. They have acquired cat powers with Kanade and fireball powers with Tanya. They wonder if something different happens when Rien contracts with them. But Rien says nothing special happens to him, surprising the fairies. They think that maybe Rien has learned some advanced magic that they can't use themselves. However, Rien can't remember anything, and they feel like contracting with him didn't have any noticeable effects. Rien clarifies that he doesn't judge his friends based on their abilities. This surprises the fairies since they left their family, wondering why Rien has so much trust in them. They want to know more about it. But after meeting Kanade, Tanya, Runa, and Sora, he started trusting them, and they formed a strong team. As they are about to leave for lunch, a man with guards approaches them and starts asking the fairies for their names. His name is Edgar, and he describes fairies as someone who are well-dressed and beautiful, and he seems to take an interest in them, wanting to get to know them better. Upon hearing this, Sora becomes astonished and exclaims that this foolish man is already thinking of making them his own after just their first meeting. She finds him utterly stupid. However, this man named Edgar only wants to have Sora and Runa. He approaches Rien and offers to give him wealth and fame if he hands the fairies over to him. If Rien refuses, his soldiers will kill him. But the situation takes an unexpected turn, and Rien uses Fireball from multiple dimensions and ends up defeating all of Edgar's soldiers. Edgar's soldiers surrender their weapons and pledge loyalty to Reen. Reen asks Edgar to leave and never show his face again. The fairies and the villagers are grateful to Reen for saving them from danger. Back at home, Runa and Sora are elated that Reen's new skill allows him to use multiple attacks simultaneously, and he has gained better control over his powers. They praise him for his improved abilities, possibly due to their contract. Meanwhile, Edgar reveals his true colors. He has kidnapped a girl and treating her horribly in his palace, displaying despicable behavior. Tanya vows to burn down his palace in anger, but Reen cautions against rash actions to protect the people. On the other side, Edgar talks to his father and instructs his knight to investigate and bring Reen to him for revenge. He pays the knight handsomely for this task. Meanwhile, Reen and Kanad visit the knight's office to lodge a complaint against Edgar. However, the knights inform them that they cannot take action for minor offenses. Frustrated, Reen and Kanad decide to leave, but Stella, the vice captain of the Horizon branch of knights, arrives and thanks them. She knows their names and appreciates them for taking down the Ebon Fangs, a dangerous group. Stella now wants to punish the Lord's family for their evil deeds and seeks Reen's help to deliver justice. In the presence of Reen and Kanad, Stella explains that all the tired knights are loyal to the Lord, and some of them cover up the Lord and his son's misdeeds for money. One such knight is Captain Guylet, who Reen and Kanad want to guide back to the right path. Initially, Reen is hesitant to trust Stella, but when Kanad senses no bad vibes from her and confirms her sincerity, Reen agrees to include her in their team. They shake hands and decide to set a trap for the Lord and his son to expose their crimes. During the night, Reen and his team keep a close eye on the knights from above and are satisfied to see their plan heading in the right direction. The captain is worried about the incriminating evidence against the Lord and his father going viral, as that could destroy them all. As they enter a warehouse to execute their plan, an attack on the knights begins, and one by one, the knights fall to the ground. Sora closes the door, trapping them inside. Reen wields the Dragger, which Grant's made for him, and attacks the captain, but he sees the attack coming and stops it with his sword, capturing Reen and Stella. Stella insists Reen to leave it on her and starts fighting against the captain. She wants to punish him for his wrongful actions. Eventually, she succeeds in defeating him. Meanwhile, Edgar continues his cruel act of kicking a young girl, and he is unable to believe that Stella managed to get her hands on his knights. He realizes that he might need more knights to save him. Suddenly, Arios appears and tells Edgar that he won't benefit from such acts. When Edgar asks who Arios is, he reveals that he is Reen's enemy. Arios threatens that Reen will destroy Edgar and will take away everything he has. He then hands Edgar a magic ring that can be used to kill Reen and swiftly departs. Then we see the little girl sitting inside a house, feeling like she's in jail when she wakes up. On the other side, Stella and her team are about to enter the Lord's palace, and on the way, they encounter some knights who inquire about the reason for their arrival. Stella explains that they have been summoned by the Lord for some work, but the knights are unaware of this and ask about Captain Guylet. Stella informs them that he has been arrested due to corruption. Kanad and Tanya join them. However, the knights suspect that these individuals might be planning an attack and call for a large army to be ready to fight. Meanwhile, Sora, Runa, and Reen have entered a secret room with the intention of rescuing the kidnapped people. The fairies begin using their magic to search for them. While Runa uses her powers to locate the kidnapped individuals, she senses a powerful energy nearby, almost equal to her and Sora's abilities. Reen speculates that there might be an ultimate species present in the area and instructs Runa and Rora to continue searching for the kidnapped people while he tries to locate the source of the energy. However, Runa and Sora worry that the energy could be dangerous due to its immense power. Reen reassures them and insists on not leaving the kidnapped people behind, even if it means revealing their identity. Reluctantly, Runa and Sora agree to trust Reen and head back to rescue the kidnapped individuals. Reen follows the source of the energy and finds a room with a jail behind it. He sees a girl with a fox-like tail, held captive there. He quickly breaks the lock and heals her injuries. The girl introduces herself as Nina and explains that Edgar kidnapped her. He used her demigod powers and make her his slave. She tells Reen how Edgar tried to force her to go with him, and when she refused, he cruelly beat her. Since then, she's been suffering in pain. Reen assures her that he came to rescue her. He starts using his powers to heal her and free her from the pain of the magical collar. Then we see that when Reen uses his powers to heal Nina and remove the magical collar, he feels a lot of pain, which Nina can't bear to watch and asks him to stop. However, Reen insists that leaving her in pain wouldn't be right, and with the powers he received from Kanad, Tanya, and the fairies, he will surely save her. He finally succeeds in breaking the collar's spell. Meanwhile, Tanya and Kanad easily overpower the knights, and Runa and Sora join the fight using their fireball attacks. Together, they rescue the kidnapped people and take down the knights. Stella, on the other hand, is on her way to apprehend the Lord. Edgar's father, who expresses fear and questions Edgar's abilities. He is disappointed with Edgar for not handling the situation as he promised, and Edgar asks him to run away. Rien brings Nina back to his friends, explaining that she is a demigod. Some of the girls mistake her for just another girl Rien has brought along, but when they realize her powers, they are astonished. Sora finds it strange that humans worship demigods, and yet they met one so easily. Kanai and Nina start playing together, and Stella is determined to find evidence to arrest the Lord. However, Edgar's father tries to flee, but Stella and Rien manage to capture him. In the midst of the chaos, Edgar uses a magic ring to attack Rien with a monster. It appears to everyone that Rien has been hit hard, and Arias believes Rien is dead and celebrates his death. However, it turns out to be an illusion, and Rien is unharmed. Sora explains that Edgar used Dineth's psychic magic, but Rien is unaffected because of his nullification powers, which also prevent poison from affecting him while used by Runa for experiment. Sora is still angry at Runa for conducting the experiment that went wrong, but Runa explains that she always suspected that the contract with them gave him more than one power, and now she realizes he also has nullification powers. On the other side, Edgar is disappointed and can't understand why Rien isn't dead, and he fears that Rien might take everything away from him. Suddenly, an odd energy emerges from his ring and Edgar faces it. Despite Rien's attempt to use a fireball against the energy, it remains unaffected. The energy then takes the form of a powerful demon, the same one that once devastated Rien's village. The demon thanks Rien for awakening it and expresses its intention to kill Rien without mercy. Then the demon takes off into the city to attack, believing that humans are as weak as insects, but they reproduce rapidly. Kanad swiftly strikes the demon's back, causing it to fall. Rien and the rest of the team arrive, and Rien informs the demon that he has come to put an end to it, not to play games. The demon finds it amusing that Rien thinks he can defeat him, as it perceives humans as insignificant as ants. Kaneg and Tanya attack the demon again, and Rien restrains it with his weapon to create an opening for Runa and Sora's magic attacks, but the demon remains unaffected. The demon decides to summon its army from the underground, but Rien's team easily defeats them as well. The demon then summons its army once more, and Kanad charges at it, but the demon uses its power to injure her. Tanya becomes furious and launches a fiery attack on the demon, but its power overcomes her too. Rien quickly heals Kanayed, but the demon's power proves to be too overwhelming. The demon proceeds to wreak havoc by destroying homes and causing fires all around. Rien attempts to stop the demon with his fireball attack, while the fairies also join in the attack. Rien transfers his power to Kanayed and Tanya, and they both launch a fierce assault on the demon, causing it to crash to the ground. However, despite the powerful attacks, the demon seems unfazed, and it summons more of its army to continue the fight. Tanya tries to attack the demon with fire again, but its army intercepts her attacks. Rien devises a plan to defeat the demon and asks the rest of the team to focus on rescuing the city's residents. The fairies suggest using their teleport magic to transport the citizens to a safe location while Rien faces the demon. On the other side, the hero and his team discuss the demon's attack, and Minna urges Arios to confront and defeat the demon, as it is a part of the Demon King's army and their enemy. However, Arios believes that their only enemy is the Demon King, and he refuses to intervene. Stella and her team have successfully defeated all the demons and are now making a path for the city's residents to escape. As knights, their duty is to eliminate the demons and save the city's people. Runa and Sora arrive and inform Stella about their plan to use teleportation magic to rescue the citizens. Stella agrees, and she rushes off to bring all the people to safety. Meanwhile, Kanayed and Tanya continue to fight against the demon army. Eventually, all the people gather around Runa and Sora, but upon realizing that they are fairies, they hesitate due to their belief that fairies despise humans and may harm them. However, a man who runs a hot dog shop, from where Runa and Sora had eaten earlier, arrives and asks them how they liked his hot dogs. Both of them praise his hot dogs, which makes the man realize that fairies and humans can't be so different, as both like hot dogs. A little girl and an old woman, having gained confidence in them, also come forward, and soon all the people are ready for teleportation. On the other side, Kanayed and Tanya are still fighting the monsters, and the other adventurers arrive to help them. The Adventurer Guild had been informed about Rien and his team fighting to save the city, and Natalie wanted to assist them. Grant appears and provides them with special weapons, and the group readies themselves to save the city while Rien's team gets a clear path. Sora and Runa are also trying to rescue the people, and Nina is hesitant to fight but can't sit back and decides to help. Rien and the team are facing difficulties in targeting the distant demon, and even Tanya's fire attacks are ineffective against its guards. However, they realize that the only way to defeat the monster is through teleportation. Fairy's magic won't be enough for instant teleportation, but Nina has such powers and offers her help. Reen carries Nina in his arms and they proceed to confront the monster. Despite continuous attacks from the monster, Reen manages to evade them. Nina then demonstrates her instant transmission power and together, they take on the monster. The monster is puzzled by their abilities, especially the demigod with Reen. Reen boosts his powers to absorb the monster's abilities, a challenging feat but necessary to save everyone. Reen forms a contract with the monster's guards, and they turn against the monster. The monster is ultimately defeated in a massive blast. After the victory, Nina is exhausted and about to fall, but Tanya catches her and prevents her from harm. Finally, the team achieves victory, and a new dawn begins for the city.